Well, hello. Let's pull those comments up there. How's it going? How's everyone doing today? Let's see who we got in here. We've got Danielle, Wicked Awesome Gardening. We've got Gus. How's it going, Gus? Don over at Little Mountain Life. How's it going? Post in the chat if you're here. Let's see who made it in here on time. This is the first time we've ever done something like this. Don't normally do lives. I think I was telling Don from Little Mountain Life earlier, this is the first live we've ever done on this channel. So I might have actually done one like from my phone after a day of chicken processing a long time ago. But this is the first time we've ever done one on YouTube. Nate from Grantham, New Hampshire, welcome in. How's it going? Snow started in Grantham yet for you, Nate? I know it just started out here. So yeah, Gus, we are very excited. I was hoping to have Jackie on the live tonight, but she is actually, I went upstairs a few minutes ago to grab a cable off our desk, which is in our offices in the bedroom, and she was already passed out. So she's very tired. She's very pregnant. Like I mentioned earlier, her due date was yesterday. So we were hoping that yesterday or last weekend we might see something happen, but not yet. Baby's hanging out in there. Jealous of the snow. You can have it, Don. Right now, driveway is soft. It's a little bit of a mud puddle out there. The UPS guy came up today, dropped off a package, but it's getting to the point pretty soon where they're going to be dropping stuff in the snowbank by the side of the road versus coming up here. Chris, what's going on? How's Texas? Did you guys thaw out yet down there? Yeah, we've Danielle, we've actually been we do a walk down to the end of the driveway every day, at least once and back. And that's about 1,800 feet each way. So so sometimes Jackie's been doing more than one. She's been moving. She's still been doing the chickens. I give her huge credit. Not for nothing with me being a slacker, but she has been, aside from maybe 10 or 11 times, she's been the one every day to go out and take care of her chickens. They're her birds. So she's been doing a pretty good job, hauling buckets of water for them and filling up waters and making sure they're taken care of. It's been pretty wild to see how active she's been with the birds, except on days like tonight where she was just spent, super tired, and I ended up going out and taking care of everyone. So 86 degrees. See, I'd be complaining. That's same with you, Don. We have I think 4 to 6 forecasted for tonight here. They were saying possibly up to 12 inches, depending where the snow and ice line kind of laid itself out. But it looks like we're going to be more on the 6-inch side of things. Dawn from Central Mass. Gus, Boscawen. Cool. Let's see. What do I know in Boscawen? I've done a lot of canoe trips there on the Pemmy in that area. Is it still the Pemmy or is it the Merrimack? I forget where. I think it turns into the Merrimack up in Bristol. And then it's the Merrimack. It's the Pemmy north of there and then the Merrimack south of Bristol. CH, it's a girl, a little girl. We do have a name picked out. We're like 99% sure on a name. We're not sharing it yet. Up until this point, we've been calling it Baby Cupcake. The story on that is about like once we found out the gender of the baby, we asked Emma, what should we name the baby, hoping for a name. And she must have just eaten a cupcake or just seen a cupcake or something. And she just said, I think we should call it Baby Cupcake. So we've been referring to the baby as Baby Cupcake for pretty much the whole pregnancy at this point. So for now, it's Baby Cupcake. Whenever she decides to make her entrance, we have a name picked out for her. I just remembered I can click those up when I talk about them. Okay, so when I get my New Hampshire homestead all set up and I'm ready to sell, VA is the way to go. Got it. I hate cold and snow. Yeah, you're coming into a great spot though. I mean, I know where your spot is. It's actually you're within like 25 minutes of us, and it's a pretty good spot. I wouldn't I'd give it a few years before you decide to move south. Don still gets snow down in Virginia. It's just way more of a cluster when they get snow. Everyone starts running all over the road. Judith, how's it going? I do talk to people from Central New York. Let's see, Brian from the Homestead Journey podcast. He's kind of like capital area, but my sister who just moved to New Hampshire, she was living in Ithaca, I think, for like the last 4 or 5 years. So she just moved to New Hampshire though. Oh, Gus, tell me about it. Yeah, aside from one male dog and one male cat who's 10 or 11 years old at this point, everyone else in the house is girls. Definitely outnumbered there. Do we have horses? No, we do not have horses. Not necessarily. Hey, there's Brian right there, Homestead Journey. Nothing wrong necessarily with horses. We have, I guess I could talk about the 3 rules we have on our homestead. And these were just kind of, it was like a joke that when we started doing the farming thing, we just kind of came up with them. But the 3 rules we had were no freeloaders, nothing we have to milk, and no goats. And the goats thing is just kind of a joke because we think goats are evil. So we don't have goats. The no milking thing, Jackie and I, if we like to sleep in on a Saturday, we want to be able to sleep in on a Saturday. And what's great about pigs is if you sleep till 10 a.m., usually they'll sleep till 10 a.m. They won't really bother you too much. But the no freeloaders thing is kind of where horses come in. There's a lot that goes into keeping horses and not a ton of return on them. Unless you like riding horses, which I don't have a problem with. But the way we kind of look at it with the small amount of land that we have and what we're dealing with, pasture is almost non-existent. Any pasture we're going to have after the logging project where we're building pasture out of what was once forest, that pasture is going to go to sheep as a small ruminant. So if we were to bring a horse or even cows on, we've kicked around the idea of cows, it would end up being a pretty big money sink. To keep them fed and hayed properly. At least with cows, we'd have the opportunity of pulling meat out of that equation at 18 months to 2 years. But with horses, the financial bring back isn't there. Maybe 1 year, years down the line, if Emma wants a horse to ride, we'll think about it. But it's definitely something where when we've looked at it in the past, it ends up being kind of a big money sink for us, especially with not a lot of pasture land. Yeah, 100%. You burn through a bunch of hay with horses. Let's move to Spain and eat them. Italians eat them too. I'm not against eating a horse, I guess, but I have a feeling that if we got a horse and it got older and it came time to get rid of it, get rid of it. It probably wouldn't go over well. Really, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we've never really experienced that with any of our pigs. They're all pretty mellow. Like I've woken up at like 9:30 on a weekend and looked out the window and just seen the pigs laying out in the middle of the field, and they couldn't give a care. They hear me come out and get the bucket ready for them and they get excited, but they haven't really bothered too much. They don't make too much noise. Somebody had a question a while back. Where'd it go? Oh, it was actually you, Mountain Neighbor. Love seeing you live. We agree. First potbelly mini female, 1 year old and 2 years old adopted, 5 chickens. How do we know for sure if Piggy is pregnant? Best way there, and it's probably a little bit different on the potbelly side of things. Brian from Homestead Journey, maybe you might speak to this being a guinea hog guy, but if you know that they were bred or when you think they might have been bred, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days is gestation period on a pig. So if you see her starting to bag up, you see those teats start to grow around that time frame. That's probably your best indicator that you're going to have piglets coming soon. Oh, thanks, Judith. How many acres? We're sitting on it's a little bit contested, actually. I just did some paperwork for the USDA to file for an FSA number. And based on GIS and kind of the tax maps in our area, it's looking like we have a little over 11. Our official assessment is 10.19. So there's a little up in the air there. I might have to do some digging around. If we do have more land, then I think, that then as listed, hey, cool. If not, it's really give or take an acre there. But we officially have 10.19, and that's what we're working with. Originally, pretty much 9.5 of that was forested, with just, like 3/4 of an acre cleared around the house. As of last winter, we had 2 acres out on the front of the property cleared and completely cleared, clear cut and stumped out. And then we had 1.5 acres on the back half of the property selectively cut. They left the oaks and they left the maples back there. And that's going to be wildlife habitat. We're going to manage it kind of as we may run pigs back there once in a while, but most of it is going to be managed as food plot for deer and other wildlife. Pigs are fun to raise, but when they get to the big and destructive phase, you are ready for them to go in the freezer. You are 100% correct on that. We love our pigs. Emma loves when their piglets going out and playing with them and, feeding them from her hands. But man, let me tell you, when we get our pigs in April, so they're about 2 months old there. Once we get to like late August or even like early September, man, they're big. They'll break anything you put in there. They'll take their feed trough and throw it around. I still like them at that point, but once it starts getting cold, I'm ready for them to go. So the male got her a few times and her belly is starting to get a little harder and bigger. She's staying closer to home more. I'd say you got a pregnant pig. You're going to have babies soon. Maybe soon. Good luck. Question for the experience in the room. If I'm able to move to my property in June, do I have time to raise up a turkey for Thanksgiving this year? Yes, depending on the breed that you get. We raised last year Murray's Giant White and Murray's Broad-Breasted Bronze. They were a new breed. McMurray's had had them for a while, but these were like a new strain they were working with. If you need a smaller turkey, June's the perfect time to get some poults and start raising them out. We raise, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen, we raise gigantic turkeys. We shoot really for 30-pound hens and 50-pound toms every year, and we get our birds in April. I actually just put our order in through McMurray. So if you're looking for like a 15 to 20-pound turkey, June is totally fine, especially if you get one of those faster growing broad-breasted varieties. I want chickens again. Here, a young laying chicken is $40. That's crazy. So I have eggs in an incubator. Judith, where are you from? Out of curiosity, $40 is pretty expensive for a chicken, a laying chicken. We can usually pop on Craigslist here in New Hampshire, and if we're looking for like chicken, maybe they might be 2 years old, so they're a little bit over their prime, but you can usually find them for $10-15 a piece. And I think even the local agways out here sell point of lay pullets for around $15 a piece. They might have gone up. I could be off. Syracuse. Maybe come to New Hampshire. That's not too bad of a drive. Baby Watch Live. Yes. Yes. Steven, how's it going? Yeah, Myers is a good hatchery. That's where a lot of the Tractor Supplies I know get their chicks from. Somebody was telling me actually Tractor Supplies got contracts with, I think, 20 different hatcheries this year, and they're going to keep it really regional. We just as kind of a point of reference, we only buy our chickens from McMurray. I will get chicks from Tractor Supply every once in a while, just because if they're in and they look good, it's easy to kind of try before you buy in that regard. You can see what they look like. But if I'm going to order blind from a hatchery through the mail, McMurray's really my only go-to. I love what those guys are doing up there. The free range with pigs is daily workout. I guess I do hiking at least once a day. So do you let them totally free range? Like, or do you have a perimeter fence or anything like that? Because I know we do our pigs with only 2 strands of electric fence, but we don't have a perimeter fence. And knock on wood, I've been lucky that we've never really had a pig bust through the electric fence. We have had one get out before, but I'm pretty confident it wasn't the pig trying to get out. I'm pretty sure it was pushed through the fence by another pig that was just kind of pushing it off some feed. So, yeah. Yes, McMurray is awesome. They're great folks there. They are actually, and I was going to talk about this, they are sponsoring once again the Homesteaders of New England Fall Gathering. Some of you folks may be familiar with that. I mentioned it a little bit last year on our channel. And then we did a separate channel for it, which if you're interested, I don't know, Don, if you want to drop the link to that second channel in the chat. But so we organized last year a homestead, I guess conference, you can call it, here in Greenfield, New Hampshire, where we're from. And we had 450 people come out in our first year, which was pretty cool. Brian from the Homestead Journey was there. Don from Little Mountain Life was there. Danielle, you came as well. So we had a pretty good turnout last year. We had some great speakers. Morgan from Goldshaw Farm came out. Austin K from Homesteady came out and talked. We had a bunch of local people as well do some stuff. And it was all related to New England, because what I found, and nothing against Homesteaders of America, it's a great conference. I've gone the last few years. I'll probably go again this year. I do have a ticket, even though it's a long drive. But what we found was a lot of the stuff, when you're going to one conference centered in Virginia for all the country, you end up kind of losing a little bit of the locality that makes homesteading and farming different from one place to another. We were just talking about New Hampshire's getting snow tonight, and Don down in Virginia isn't getting snow. And if you're down in Virginia, or down in like Missouri or Alabama or places like that, you're really not getting snow. And if you do, it's like a one-time deal every year. So I came up with the idea of launching a region-specific homesteading group. We are on Facebook, and then we also have this concrete conference. We call it the Fall Gathering, that happens every year, the second weekend in September, right in Greenfield, New Hampshire. Hey, Tilted K Homestead. Yeah, you guys came. It was pretty cool. Don from Little Mountain Life, he shot the recap video, which he just linked in the chat. Oh, excuse me. Oh, it's super dry in the house. We've been burning the wood stove a lot. So yeah, so we had that event. It was great. It was a really good time. We're doing it again this year. Like I said, second weekend in September. It's going to be the 9th and the 10th this year. It's at Oak Park in Greenfield, New Hampshire. We're gearing up for a big event this year. Like I said, we had 450 people last year. We are planning on 1,500 people this year. It's going to be a much larger event. So I have been in between getting ready for the baby to show up and setting up, everything that we need to do around the house, and planning out this spring, which has its own whole host of things that are going to be going on the farm. In between all of that, I've been working to get sponsors on board, networking with some speakers to try and get, speaking sessions set up. We're going to have 2 tents this year, most likely, with a full speaker track in one tent, and then a second tent where each day we're going to have 2 workshops or demonstrations and 2 speakers in that tent. So we're going to have a whole lot more stuff going on at the event. And we didn't change pricing this year. It's still just $25 to get in. So for the whole weekend, which is pretty cool. So you're going to see more info coming out on that. Like I said, you can go to the YouTube channel. You can go to the website, is newenglandhomesteaders.com. Unfortunately, Homesteaders of New England was taken by GoDaddy, so I was unable to secure homesteadersofnewengland.com, but we did get newenglandhomesteaders.com, which is close enough by my standards. And more info will be going up there as things kind of progress. Emmy, you'd better come. You're going to get up here one day. Yeah, it was an awesome event. I had so much fun last year. Who was this? Jay. Just found your channel like 45 minutes ago. I was looking to move to New Hampshire and start a veggie-only homestead. How is the growing season in that area? It's not the longest you're going to find. We are where we are specifically in New Hampshire. We are zone 5A. Our last frost date is typically around May 15th. And then our first frost date is typically, you know what? I'm not really that good at the first frost date. I want to say it could be September 15th, but October 15th sticks out in my head. I'm unfamiliar with exactly when it is. Typically because in the fall, we can have Indian summers sometimes where the heat can really kind of stretch into fall. And we do have small high tunnels for our garden. So if we see a frost coming, typically we'll just drop the high tunnels over the raised beds and kind of deal with it that way. We can get it extended a little bit. If you're new, veggie only though, I mean, cold weather crops, broccoli, cabbage. I mean, we've grown some awesome cabbage here, peas. What else is cold weather? Kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts, you know, all those cold weather crops, broccoli, cauliflower. Really, we do a great job growing those here. Squash, we've never had a hard time with squash really either. Pumpkins do well. Really, the only things that you're going to run into are tomatoes. Obviously, if there's a frost or you have cold weather shot, you know, you're really only going to get one crop of tomatoes a year where some other zones can squeeze in too. And then if you're looking to grow things like that, like hot weather, okra, I haven't had really good luck with up here in the past. Loofah sponges, I know some people have had a hard time with because you can grow them, but they end up staying pretty small. Where, you know, if you're in a more southern region, you get those nice big loofah sponges, which are awesome to cut up into lots of little pieces. So, but give it a shot. Definitely check out Zone 5A on the USDA map. You can see, depending what part of New Hampshire you're looking at moving, it's pretty different. All right, let's scroll down and see where we're at. I'm behind. I've started my salad seeds. You're better than me. He'd better come this year. Any hotels near the event? So we have a bed and breakfast here in town called the Greenfield Inn. Right across the street from the venue, Oak Park, is Greenfield State Park. It's a New Hampshire state park. It's got, I believe, 200 campsites, both tent and RV style sites. So if you're thinking, if you're into that sort of thing, no problem. You could definitely make that happen. Your next step from there would be to go into Peterborough, New Hampshire, and look there. There's a couple small independently run inns. There's Crotched Mountain, which is the ski resort about 15 minutes away. They have an inn up there as well, the Crotched Mountain Resort. It's on a golf course. Really a little tricky as far as that's kind of, if we end up expanding beyond the size we are now, that's going to be the biggest reason why, because the venue we have now is great, but lodging in the area, I mean, Greenfield is in the middle of nowhere. So it's tough to get to and tough to stay, unless you like camping, in which case there's plenty of campsites across the street. I'm learning about companion plants for melons, and I'm liking marigolds. So we've done marigolds in with our tomatoes before in the past. I haven't ever done them with anything else. One companion planting, and I'll share this tidbit for you. I was actually going to do a video on it this spring, but I didn't plant garlic, so it's really not going to work. So we planted garlic last year. Well, you plant it in the fall. So we planted it in October, and last spring it came up through the mulch. And once we were into the portion of summer where you really want to start getting your pepper plants in the ground, I actually interspersed hot pepper plants amongst the garlic. And it was pretty cool because the garlic was kind of open enough where light would get through down to the pepper plants. And then midsummer, right around June, is when you're harvesting your hardneck garlic around here. We pulled all that garlic out, and then the pepper plants just had free reign to go crazy in that space. And there's a little bit of a fun trade-off where most of your alliums, your onions, your garlics, your shallots, your things like that, they have a pretty strong anti-pest ability. And peppers, they tend not to get chewed up too bad by pests. But by putting them in that garlic bed, I felt like when they were small, it really, really helped them get a good, strong start. Nothing was bothering them. And then once I pulled those garlics out, they just took right off. The peppers did incredible. So companion planting is definitely cool. The whole Three Sisters thing was, way back in the day, but there's so much more out there. Carrots Like Tomatoes is a good book that I've read before, and I see a lot of people recommending, and I feel like a lot of what it talks about still holds true. After we met Tom from Murray McMurray, we ordered our first layer of meat birds from them for our new homestead this year. He's a great guy, and we're happy to support his business. Yeah, Murray McMurray, they stepped up huge last year. When I told them about the event, I had met them before, and they knew who I was, and really we just kind of like had gone back and forth and not really had any formal dealings. But when I mentioned what I was doing with the Homesteaders in New England event, they came right away. They were like, let us know what you need. We want to help you. We want to get this thing up off the ground. And they really stepped up big to help us out. Even though, I offered them a huge space for a tent and everything. And Tom was like, no, I just want to come up and hang out. And a lot of people got to meet Tom. He had a great time. And, they're going to be coming back again next year. We're really happy to have them. Oh, beekeeping for honey. Yes. That is on the docket. We were looking at it last year when we had the logging done, and then we kind of pushed it off because we said, well, the logging's taking longer than we expected. We were talking about doing it this spring. Now with baby here, we're not going to, push our luck on that regard and try to get too much stuff started. So yeah, we are maybe thinking next year, although we're going to be ending up, there's some stuff in the pipeline for next year, and I don't know if necessarily bees are going to work then. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff going on. All right, we got that one already. Tom's the best. He is the best. Our garlic died. Did it freeze? I know sometimes if it freezes, like, did it even sprout? I'll wait until you respond to kind of go on there. I put salad greens and carrots below the tomatoes. It worked out great last year. The tomatoes shaded out the salad greens for quite a while, which helped them live longer. Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect thing to think about. A lot of people use shade cloth, but if you can put your salad greens in and have the tomatoes shade those greens, that's perfect. You're going to get much leafier heads. Do you have a milk goat for baby? Bring back old traditions. No goats. No goats and nothing we have to milk. Robert, good to meet you, by the way. I think I've seen you post in comments before, but I don't think we've ever chatted. Yes, there are decent Airbnb options in the Greenfield area as well. That is, thank you, Don. When am I starting my seeds? Who knows? What day is it? It's not even March yet. Take it easy, Steven. No, we're probably mid-March. I'm getting onion starts this year. So I'm getting those from Dixondale Farms. Chris, are you still here? Chris from Rockin' 8 Farm, actually. Go check his channel out. Oh, while we're here, Don, Little Mountain Life, Emma at Sunny's Place. Thank you, mods. I don't know if anything's going on tonight in the mod sort of thing. I know we're pretty low key channel. I don't think anybody's trying to troll us, but yeah, go check out their channels, Sunny's Place and Little Mountain Life. They're awesome. Really check out anybody's channel. There's so many good people in the homesteading community talking stuff up. Just dried up. I even water them. I had a drip system in our garden. I'm going to guess. I should have shown that while I was reading it. If we're talking garden and garlic really does like dry, well-drained soil. So I guess here's kind of, I can't, without looking at it and digging it up and checking it out, I can't really tell you. When you dug it up, did you see anything? Like, were the cloves still there, or had it even started to form heads? While I wait to see that, I'm going to guess So garlic likes to be planted in the fall. It likes a heavy layer of mulch on top. We do about a foot of straw on top of our garlic, and then we let it go all winter. And then I actually don't pull the mulch off until I start seeing garlic push through about that foot of straw. And that's when I'll pull things off. The biggest thing with garlic is that I've always been told is that garlic likes to be dry. It doesn't too much water, and you can actually end up rotting the roots and the clove that's underneath the ground that's going to form your head. And that can actually, if you rot those roots and you rot that head, you end up with many more issues down the line, i.e. drying out potentially. So garlic's good for me because I'm terrible. I always, I forget to water the garden. So garlic tends to do all right, but maybe you watered it too much. That would be my guess. If you had a drip system on it, it might've been getting too much water. So that would be kind of where that'd be where I would go. They were dry. I didn't plant in the fall. We planted in spring. Yeah. You know what? I've never had good luck with planting in the spring. I've tried it in the past, and I've never gotten anything even worth harvesting. So maybe wait until next year and try planting it in the spring and see what's going on. Aquaponics. Yeah. Super cool. You can grow a lot of different types of fish, but really, what is it? Tilapia are a big one for aquaponic systems because they'll nibble on the plant's roots. They won't eat them all the way down, but they'll nibble on the plant's roots. They'll get some nutrients from there. And then you can grow all sorts of different stuff, and then you can eat the fish, and it's pretty cool. We watch, subscribe to both great channels. Oh yeah, and the Mindful Homestead one. Yeah, that dude, the Mindful Homestead, he's sketchy. So, all right, let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Does anybody have any other questions? I've got a little cheat sheet I put together here. So baby watch. I got baby watch and I got what's coming soon. So yeah, let's talk about, I guess, baby watch, what's been going on. So we've got a full nursery upstairs that's prepped and ready to go. I have been, hey, what's going on? Was there a baby watch update? Yes, I was just about to do it. There is still no baby. Jackie was actually going to be on the live tonight, and she fell asleep probably about 7:45. I went upstairs to grab a cable for the computer, and she was asleep. So no baby yet. We're waiting. We're hoping soon. Although there's a storm coming in tonight. We're going to get about 6 inches of snow. So maybe another couple days we could wait. I wouldn't mind that. The timing of this whole thing with the baby worked out really well because we're going to be, so she's due now, like tail end of February. And really my job is awesome. It lets me have a month and a half off for paternity leave, which is awesome. Jackie owns her own business, so she can take off pretty much whatever she wants. Her business is still, bringing in cash flow that way, which is nice. So really it gives me a month and a half to kind of stay home with the family, bond, get projects done around the farm. Springtime is when a lot of stuff happens. We're going to be starting seeds soon. Yes, I'm letting her rest, Emma. I think she had The Sopranos on. She was watching that. That's been her new thing. She'd never seen Sopranos before, and she started it about 3 weeks ago. So she's going to be chewing through every season of that while we're home. So we will have soon. We took the spring off from making maple syrup this year. Hopefully we're going to be building a new sugar house. That's going to be one of these projects in the spring. We've got piglets showing up mid-April. Actually, the farmer we are getting them from this year, he was just posting pictures on Instagram yesterday of the piglets. They were born yesterday, which is awesome. And yeah, that's, it worked out great. I'm gonna have a month and a half off during the busiest time of the year, which is cool. When we get our chicks, what height would you recommend for the heat lamps? So the brooders, there's a video on our channel. I think it's called Build This Simple Collapsible Brooder for under $25. And that's a little outdated because it might cost you more than that now. But we use heat lamps that just clip onto the side of that brooder. And the pieces that we're using to build that brooder are 4 feet by 2 feet around the edges. So I guess our heat lamps are about 2 feet. And what we kind of look for there is we look for the chicks to kind of be evenly spaced out under it. If they're all huddled right under the heat lamp, then you know it's not low enough. And if they're spread out toward the sides of the brooder and kind of slammed up against the walls, then your heat lamp is too high or too low and they're not getting enough heat. So so that's kind of how we look at it. We just kind of look at where the chicks are spread out and see what they need. And then honestly, we don't raise the lamp up as time goes on. What I do is, since we have it clipped to the side, I just kind of angle the head up, and that more indirect angle of heat lamp beam kind of keeps, hey, look, Emma just posted that right there. And then kind of like the indirect angle of the heat lamp kind of drops the temperature there. Oh, watershed overlook. Thank you so much. That's awesome. We really appreciate it. No booze for me. Jackie might want some wine, though. It's actually kind of funny. Tom from McMurray Hatchery, at the end of the Homesteaders of New England event last year, gave us a bottle of wine to say thank you for putting it on. And I don't drink anymore. I have like 1 or 2 drinks a year. I drink very infrequently. But Jackie was a wine drinker. And at that point, she knew she was pregnant. And immediately she's like, oh, thank you so much. I have to wait to drink this, though. So the running joke has been she's been waiting to crack that bottle of wine open. Thank you so much for that. That's really awesome. We appreciate it. Hey, Gather Together Homestead. How's it going? What kind of pigs this year? They are Duroc. We're sticking with the Duroc. But they are a Duroc Old Spot cross this year. Let me see if I can pull up Rowan Ridge. See if we can get some pictures here. And I know that I can share my screen. Hold on, let me see if I can do this right here. All right, let's go. StreamYard, present, share screen. No, it's not going to let me share my screen. Wait, maybe, yes. Later. All right, never mind. I'd have to quit out of Chrome to do it. I'll show you on my phone now. Let's pull this up. Here we go. Oh. Technology. Don't mind the cracked screen. So there we go. Duroc Mom, Old Spot babies. Very cute little ones. We are soon to be on Baby Watches. April 4th. You guys are perfect. April 4th is even probably a little bit better than we are. That's perfect homesteading time. You can get all your seeds started before then, and then come home and just have a couple weeks to hang out, be with baby, and get things going. Want pigs. What are your thoughts on Idaho pasture pigs? They say they don't root a lot and tear fencing down. What is your preference of pork? Okay, let's talk about Idaho pastured pigs. And Chris, if you're in the chat, don't Chris from Rocket 8 Farm, they actually breed Idaho pasture pigs. Don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way. So Idaho pasture pigs are a very new breed. They have a lot of work that needs to be done with the breed before it gets to a point where I would solidly recommend them to pretty much anyone that, pig talk time. Exactly. Yeah. So here's my take on Idaho pasture pigs. They're a very new breed. You could go on Craigslist and you could go on Facebook Marketplace. Well, probably not Facebook Marketplace because they don't like animals, but anywhere you go to look to buy pigs, where you buy animals, you could punch in Idaho pasture pig and you're going to get different looking pigs. You're going to have different colors. You're going to have different snout sizes. You're going to have different conformations, like all sorts of different stuff's going on. Some will have wattles, some won't have wattles. And for me, if you're going to call something a breed, you really need to have your consistency dialed in. If you have a Berkshire pig, that is a breed that, has been around for a while. The breeding, there's a lineage there. There's a pedigree that you can look up on registered pigs. But I mean, if you have a Berkshire pig and you look at a Berkshire pig, even if it's not a registered pig, you can put your hands on it, look around, get a general idea of what that pig looks like and know for sure that that's a Berkshire. The breed standard is there and it's not super varied. With Idaho pasture pigs, that breed standard doesn't necessarily exist yet. And what you could end up getting is you could get a pig that is closer to a cooney than, there's Berkshire and Idaho pasture pig as well. Idaho pasture pig, to the best of my knowledge, is a multi-breed pig. There's some Berkshire in there. There's some American guinea hog in there. There's some cooney in there. There's a whole bunch of pigs that were taken together and kind of bred over top of each other to get this pig that was the Idaho pasture pig. And to me, it's just not at a point yet where I would consider the Idaho pasture pig necessarily a breed that I would recommend, because there's too many. And again, I'm not saying all breeders are this way, but there's too many people out there that are breeding an Idaho pasture pig against something, whatever they can get their hands on. They might have an Idaho pasture pig and they might have a Berkshire. And when the piglets come out of that, they could still look like Idaho pasture pigs and people may sell them as Idaho pasture pigs. So that's kind of my take on it. I think there's a lot of silver bullets that people advertise out there in the homesteading world as far as breeds go. And I feel like the Idaho pasture pig might be something like that as far as being weird. Did I lose you guys? Can you still see me? Comment in the chat if you can still see me and hear me. I have no chat. I can't see the chat. Oh, okay. I'm good. Weird. It just dumped through like 5 chats all at once. And it was you guys saying, all right, cool. Never mind. We're good. I thought apparently I was just talking and you guys were listening. Now that said, all of that said, if you find somebody with good breeding stock and you look at their pigs and you can come to their farm and see what their pigs are like, and all of their pigs generally look similar in terms of body type and snout size and what their breeding program looks like, or if you have somebody that's a registered IPP breeder, if you feel comfortable raising those pigs, go for it. Because unless you're looking for breeding stock, a lot of those IPP pigs, they grow up just fine to eat. If we're talking, what is my preference of pork? We've raised Berkshire Durocs in the past. And now we're raising Berkshire Old Spots this year. The Berkshire Durocs in the past have been delicious. The meat's been great. Berkshire Old Spot this year, from what I gather, Duroc Old Spot, should be very similar to Berkshire Duroc. So we're going to see how that goes this year. We're giving it a shot. Honestly, the only reason we switched was because our previous breeder that we worked with, he retired from pigs. So that's why we switched it up and got out of there. Good question. You're welcome. All right. What else do we want to talk about? Anybody else got any questions? What's going on the homestead? We can talk about some new projects we got going on. What's going to be happening? So the Maple Sugar Shack is going to hopefully get built as soon as the ground is thawed out. I've got when are the mango? Don, stop it with the mangalitas. if somebody thinks you're going to get Mangalitas and that's going to be a good pig for you, just don't do it. Not a good first time pig. If you're really into charcuterie and you really want to try your hand at charcuterie, by all means, bring a Mangalita on. Just know that you're looking at 18 months at least. It's like raising beef, and you're going to get a pig that comes back with very small pork chops and a whole lot of fat. It's great if you want to make a whole bunch of different charcuterie options, but if you're looking to eat pork for the lard, praise the Lord, Don. I've gotten into some spicy conversations about pigs on Facebook. You guys may have seen them before. Low and slow. I mean, I wonder what a Mangalita pork shoulder would look like, Don. You should probably get one. Hey, take it easy, guys. Thanks for coming in. Leaving for our home. Congratulations. Have fun. All right. So Maple Sugar Shack. You've seen the evaporator before. Like I said, we're taking this spring off. We are going to be putting that, I believe, and this has changed from what I've talked about before. That's going to be going where the pigs were last year. They're kind of like their training hut. So we had a 16 by 16 foot area there. That's where the Sugar Shack is going to be going. As soon as I can get a whole bunch of gravel in there, we're going to start building a Sugar Shack out of pallets. And I've been tasked by Jackie to make it nice. She doesn't want some half back-ended structure going in down there. So I'm going to be doing my best to get that all set. It's kind of, dude, on hanging out in the Sugar Shack. That's what we're going to be doing every spring. So that's going to be going up. I'm just going to raise a pair of pigs. Oh, here we go. We'll get back to that in a second. I'm going to leave this up because I don't want to forget about it. So once we get the Sugar Shack up, the next course of action is going to be to dig some drainage on that pasture. I've talked about it in a video before. I've got to get a mini excavator in here or a small dozer, and I've got to dig some drainage out so we can kind of level that pasture, keep it flat, and then get some seed down on it. The next thing from there is going to be building a barn. And I'll put out a call right here. If anybody is familiar, you've built a barn in the past, you know how to build a barn. You've worked with planning. Hey, Naked Gardeners, how's it going? Tori and Sydney, good to see you guys. If you've ever done that before, if you've ever put up a barn, whether it's post and beam, stick framed, I don't necessarily want to go pole barn style with like metal siding. I mean, I'd really like to go kind of traditional New England barn. Reach out to me because I'd like to talk about options. And obviously I'm not rolling around in cash. It's going to be something that we are looking into financing either through a government assistance loan for small farm infrastructure or through like Farm Credit Bureau or something like that. We haven't really figured that part of it out yet. But if you've done it and you've gone about that, I would love to hear what your experience was like and how you went about it. So let's get back to Danielle's question. If I'm just going to raise a pair of pigs, how much space would you recommend? You get into, yes, I'm actually going to see Al in a couple weeks. I'm going up to, there's a Maine tractor show, March 10th, 11th, and 12th, and he's going to be up there for it. We're going to chat while I'm up there. If you're just going to raise a pair of pigs, how much space would you recommend? You get into a little bit of a how you want to raise them conundrum here. I forget how big your new space is. I don't know. I was thinking around the idea having a part of my place and doing an old-fashioned barn raising for a 2-stall goat barn. I'm game. Let me know. So Danielle, post in the chat how much space you have, and I'll take a look at it. But really, it kind of ends up that you run into the question of how you want to raise them, whether you want to pasture raise them, whether you want to just, you have 1.9 acres. If you could give those 2 pigs an acre, I mean, they would be happier than pigs and you know what. And you wouldn't take on too much damage. If it really what it ends up being is how much space do you want to give them and how willing are you to take a sacrifice on that space as far as pasture and what's there. If you want them to just clear stuff and root through stuff and destroy it and kind of level the ground, you could definitely run them on a movable electric fencing and give them different areas to do. And once they till it up and kind of trash it, move them to the next spot. But if you want to if you're looking to let them kind of not do too much damage, we ran 10 this year on just over an acre. And they turned it into the moonscape by the end of it, which is what we were looking for them to do. If you ran 2 pigs on that same acre, they would probably do very little damage over the course of the year. And you wouldn't really have to worry too much about it. But it's all in how you want to do it. I mean, those factory farmers with concrete pads and barns raise 500 pigs in, less than an acre maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. Definitely just watch out. There are some rules about letting livestock graze into rivers and into watersheds. One, just because of the bacteria aspect of it, you'll end up with E. coli running downstream. But 2, they will tear up the banks pretty hard and, leave you with some issues there as far as ground compaction and things like that. So if you could keep them off the water, off the river, that'd probably be best. Give them maybe 20 yards away. No hoopty shack. What do you mean a hoopty shack? Free 99 is a good price. Are you going to come help me build one? So Stephen over at Break Free Homestead, he's got a great channel. He's been doing a lot of DIY stuff there. And yeah, definitely go check them out. He used to be kind of like a straight up homestead channel, but he's really fallen heavily into the DIY. He's built a great shed from Jamaica Cottage Shop for somebody, which is pretty cool. Yeah, definitely keep them off the banks. There's some people that just kind of let their livestock in general run onto the banks and go wild. But yeah. All right. What do you guys think? You think you want to end it? We're at 52 minutes. I'm actually getting pretty tired. I think we've run out of everything on my little list. I guess we'll do last call for any questions. Is there anything anybody wants to know before we take off for the evening? Bueller? Emma? Good seeing you as always. I'll talk to you later. All right, folks. Well, hearing no more questions coming in, I think we're going to end this broadcast. 52 minutes, not bad for my first live. 53, I'll take it. Watershed Overlook, thank you so much for that super chat. That's awesome. We really appreciate it. If you guys don't hear from me or you don't see videos on the channel, this is why. Maybe I'll pop in and try to do some more of these lives. This was kind of fun. It was great talking with you guys. Thank you so much, Danielle's Duckhead Homestead. I almost called you Danielle's Duckhead. Milk sheep. No, nothing we've got to milk. 3 rules. No goats, no freeloaders, no milking. All right, guys, we're going to end this. Have a nice night, everyone, and I'll talk to you later.